Hey there, Canal Side's #1 newspapers from other countries correspondent reporting for duty. Got a pile of papers and a fig frangipan and some big stories. Today, who wants to be the Usain Bolt of his team? Who thinks that he might be too intelligent for football? Who, or as he might put it, who said this: I've had a lot of problems with religion. Frankly, the dinosaurs came before the Bible, so why doesn't the Bible explain dinosaurs? It is, of course, Joey Barton. A tantalising slice there of Barton think, if you will, served up last weekend by L'Équipe on the occasion of his debut at last in Ligue 1. Let's have a look. The headline, as you can see, I am perhaps too intelligent for football, says Joey, putting the OM into OMG. There are other intelligent players around, but they keep it quiet. I like to give my opinion. For example, nobody remembers who finished second in the 100 metres at the Olympic Games, but they all remember Usain Bolt. I want to be the Usain Bolt of Marseille. Well, good. Finally, on Sunday, after seeing out that 12-game suspension, Joey did get to make his debut in France's top division against Lille. Sadly, though, it was more about what the lino saw than the dino saw. Joey indeed taking just 21 minutes to receive his first booking for a late tackle, and says L'Équipe it could have been red too. He went in very late. Overall, the paper giving him a workmanlike 5 out of 10. Joey responding, why aren't they talking about my great diagonal ball to Valbuena? I don't just tackle, you know. Well, on Wednesday, he had another bash at things in Marseille's big clash with their title rivals Lyon. L'Équipe this time, though, giving him 3 out of 10. Says the paper, he gave the ball away repeatedly and was taken off at half-time in what turned out to be a humiliating 4-1 home defeat. Well, it is early days, of course, but while till now the French impressions of Joey have been good, especially the one he did at the press conference, the danger is that now that he's finally back playing, he's going to have a lot of work to do if he really wants to give his critics one in the eye. Sorry, poor choice of words. Well, next up, from walking with dinosaurs to Wes not Wes. The curious case here of Inter Milan and Wesley Sneijder, the man who was the inspiration to their great title-winning season 2 years back, but who is now being held hostage. Wes basically has been offered a new deal by Inter, which enticingly asks him to stay with them longer, but for the same amount of money, i.e. to the last year free. What's more, while he's thinking about it, he's not playing. Well, there's 2 problems here. One, Inter could actually kind of do with them out on the field right now. They've picked up only 1 point in their last 3 games, all of which were against sides in the lower half of the table. The second issue is that FIFPro, the Players Association, hey, turn the music up, are citing Inter's action as mobbing, which, as we all know, means institutional bullying. And they've asked FIFA, UEFA and the European Union to intervene. Inter shock, Sneijder's being held to ransom, as the Corriere puts it. Well, says Inter's owner Massimo Moratti, it's not mobbing, dear Sneijder, but the Gazzetta responds, yes, it very much is. There's no legal precedent for what you're doing. A player may change his contract if he wishes, but that's a private issue. You can't force him to do it by splashing it all over the front pages, and it's potentially a very damaging story, this, for the club, both on and off the field. Any players contemplating coming here, well, now think twice, says the paper. So, set the Sneijder man free, very much the message there. And we'll move on, perhaps, to Spain, where the big news last weekend was twofold. One was this: Levante 0, La Masia 4. Yes, Barcelona beating Levante with 11 graduates of their academy, La Masia, in a culmination, a kind of nunc dimittis moment of Barcelonismo. As Mundo Deportivo from the Catalan capital had it, it's the DNA of Barca, with a great selection of pictures there of the whole starting 11, back when they were at La Masia, and Puyol when they dug him up from the tundra. Now, the second big story, meanwhile, last weekend was Real Madrid losing at Betis Sevilla, a whoops Betis moment that saw the Merengues drop to 11 points behind the delighted Catalans. As Sport put it the next day, historical, 11 points with 11 homegrown players. It's the biggest gap ever. To make matters worse for Real, not only are Barca clear, but Atletico Madrid, their traditional whipping boy, keep tied up in the basement in a gimp costume neighbours, are themselves 8 points above Mourinho's lot. Marca have a shot of looking moody, with the big headline there, losers. Underneath there's a quote from him in which he's attacking the club. Other sides make sure they don't get messed about in the fixture list, says Jose, but as always, it's me that takes the blame. I'm the bad guy, responds Marca. Here we go again. They dedicate inside 3 whole pages to Mourinho's excuses over his years at Real Madrid. His repertoire, says Marca, is endless. The referees, the fixture list, the players, the doctors, the youth team, the Bernabeu, Barcelona, UEFA, Valdano leaves on the line. Even his own club hasn't been spared in his attempts to draw what they call a tawdry veil over the stumblings of his team. Well, the feeling is very much now that a line has been crossed between Mourinho and the Madrileños. Not that he minds, because this week's papers have him already sorting out a swift and lucrative exit. There he is reaching for the door handle on the front of Sport, while Marca have him about to do a fat deal with the Qataris at PSG. Now, where did we hear that before? In the meantime, though, he and his Real team face an absolutely massive game this coming weekend. It is the derby against, of course, none other than Atleti. Now, Atleti haven't won this one in 13 years, but with Marca billing it as the derby of your life, and El Mundo Atleti telling their boys it's now or never, this one promises to be the tensest clash in years. And as Marca say, this time, Jose, there are no excuses. Well, we'll see how he gets on in that game, perhaps in our next edition, next Friday, which will perhaps be inside. Do make sure you join us for that, and have a super time until then.